No kid's Jewish education should end at 13. Adraba offers Ontario high school credits infused with Jewish learning online for teens across the province. Ministry approved, intellectually demanding, Jewishly transformative. Adraba.ca. That's ADRABA.ca. Your teen belongs here.
I carry Iran in my childhood, Israel in my motherhood, and the joy of loving both in my heart. Like Queen Esther, I live between Persia and my people, Jerusalem and Persepolis, loving both, fearing for both, praying for both.
Tina Ahava Azarin checks the news about the war between Iran and Israel constantly. Because for the Ottawa resident, the conflict isn't just another international story. She was born in Iran. She lives in Canada. And her daughter is studying in Israel. So when the countries she loves the most are suddenly at war, she says it feels like her heart is being pulled in three directions. Growing up in Iran after the Islamic Revolution in 1979 meant a restricted life. Her father changed the family's last name from Isaaqzadeh to Azarin to avoid facing anti-Semitism. While at university, she herself was arrested for modesty violations by the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps' militia branch known as the Basij. She had neighbors and relatives who were executed, and she made only one friend outside of her immediate family, who's still in Iran today. Canada finally granted visas to her and her husband and their then baby daughter in 2001. Once they got here, she was able to get her parents out too. She describes being overwhelmed with joy last weekend after hearing Iran's supreme leader Ayatollah Khamenei was killed by an Israeli airstrike with help from the U.S. military. Azarin still dreams of one day bringing her children back to her homeland to see her Jewish roots in a free Iran, although the outlook for regime change is still uncertain. All this week, she's been watching the war while checking Israel's air raid notifications on her phone to make sure her daughter makes it to their bomb shelter in Tel Aviv safely. I'm Ellen Besner, and this is what Jewish Canada sounds like for Friday, March 6th, 2026. Welcome to North Star, the flagship podcast of the Canadian Jewish News, made possible thanks to the generous support of the Ira Gluskin and Maxine Granovsky-Gluskin Charitable Foundation. Tina Ahava Azarin is an Ottawa entrepreneur who's also well known in the city for her Persian Jewish food cooking demonstrations. She wants people to know that Iran once boasted some of Judaism's oldest and most prosperous communities, dating back 2,700 years, although today there are fewer than 10,000 Jews remaining. The majority of 140,000 Jews fled to Israel. Others came to North America. Only a week or two before these hostilities started, February 28th, Azarin was in Israel visiting her daughter. She could feel something was brewing while she was there. She wrote a heartfelt essay for Ottawa's Jewish News Bulletin. She got back home just before the Israelis and Americans launched their operation. On today's episode of North Star, she joins me to reflect on having her heart in three places and how she gets comfort right now from her Persian Jewish traditions. You mentioned in a beautiful article, which we'll put the link to, that you wrote for the Ottawa community in January. I think you wrote it in Israel.
Yeah.
That when you look at Iran, you don't see what other people see, which is a regime, a terrorist regime. You see it as a culture. And I would love to explore that more with you. What did you mean by that?
Definitely. Iran for me is not a regime. Iran is my memory. It's my culture. I can say a little bit growing up, like Persian Jewish means Shabbat dinners with saffron rice and tadik, because you're hanging out with the Persian community, so maybe you know tadik, the golden part of the rice in the bottom of the pot, and prayers that sung with Persian melodies, hitting each other with scallions at the Seder table during Dayenu. And believe me, that becomes sometimes very, very serious. And still I remember the smell of crushed onion, scallion, that stayed in the house for a couple of days after the Seder. Iran for me is my grandparents, is my language, is music, is poetry, is Hafiz, is Rumi. The scent of roses and jasmine flower in spring, the Zagros and Alborz mountains, swimming in Caspian Sea. To me, is the story of Purim, is visiting tomb of Esther and Mordechai. Being a Persian Jew means carrying two ancient civilizations in one heart. Our community dates back to Cyrus the Great. That Cyrus the Great who allowed the Jewish people to return to Jerusalem and build the second temple. And Iran or Persia is not a place that Jews live. It was a place that protected Jews. We have 2,500 history, and I don't want that this situation or something erase that memory or takes away that 2,500 culture from me. The Persian Jewish story is not a footnote. It's one of the oldest continuous Jewish communities in the world. It's the place that the story of Purim unfolds. Iran is not slogan. It's millions of human beings living there. Artists, mothers, fathers, dreamers. There are lots of young people. They dream. They're fighting for to have a basic human rights, running water or electricity. And as you know, that Iran is one of the oldest countries that had the human rights charters. Cyrus the Great did it. And it's very, very sad and disappointing to see that Iran is like that now.
That was beautiful, and I really appreciate that. But you told me that you left in 2001, so you lived under the Islamic dictatorship for many years, that 20 years more.
Oh, yeah.
Can you share with us any of the experiences that personally you had to live or contact with the Besieged or the IRGC or any crackdowns or people you know?
I remember when revolution happened, I was so happy because the school getting closed and we were so happy that no homework, no school or something.
How old were you during the revolution? How old?
I was in grade 9. And when I was a kid, my mother didn't let us to be friends with anybody. We have to associate with just the relatives. She was scared. We were not allowed to have any friends come for birthday party. I didn't know the concept of stay over or overnight staying or pajama party, nothing. And imagine a child growing up since I was like 8, 9 years old, basically until I left Iran. I couldn't be close to anybody. I should have like a double-side person. It was not myself. And it's very sad, couldn't hang out with the people our age. I remember for birthday party, because we were not allowed to invite anybody. All relatives, my parents, they invited relatives and were elderly people. I remember that look at the big gift nicely wrapped, and I wish, I hope it is a doll inside or a toy inside. But they opened it was like a serving plate or serving a spoon for my mother. Still, it hurts, I didn't want that my kids go through that. I want to be free.
What
And
about wearing the hijab and going to university? Were you ever
oh yeah,
pulled off
yeah.
the street? Were you ever you see it on the news that the women have been killed because they were a little bit of
Oh,
hair?
yeah. We have to have hijab like that, and we have something like this to cover here. I don't know what is sexy with here, and we were not allowed to wear white socks. And I remember once I went to university and I wanted to register for courses, and the guy told me, it was a Basiji guy or so, told me that you have lipstick, you are not allowed to register. And I went back and I cleaned it up. It was not really lipstick like this. Another day, nail polish. I remember that one day again in the university, they didn't want to register me because I had nail polish, because they said it's against culture or against Islam or something. And yes, the Basij got me a few times because of hijab. Yeah.
Did they take you into custody or
No,
never?
no, they
Thank
put
God.
me in a minibus. They call it minibus, and some Basiji, they call it Basiji sisters. They came and they lectured us and said that if it happens again, we put you in the jail and you are not allowed to go to the university. You're going to be kicked out of university. Your record should be bad and there is no life. This is my interaction with Basij. But yeah, I heard many, many worse stories with other people. Yeah. Oh, boyfriend, girlfriend. Oh my God. It's you cannot go out with a boy. It's the worst things, And if they catch you, you are talking with a boy. Even in the university, we were sitting separate. We were not allowed to talk with each other at all. And it's a very, very harsh consequence to be
And did
expelled
anybody
from
in your
university.
family have other problems, whether they were tortured or they were pressured or or people you knew
Okay.
or killed?
Not in my family because, as I told you, we were young when revolution happened. But in my husband's side, yes. Actually, her aunt, yeah, she was in jail, and then she had to escape Iran, crawling between the kettles to leave Iran through Turkey, and Turkey actually border police got her and put her in jail for a couple of months in Turkey. And I remember that one of our neighbors' son, they hung him. I remember his face. He was like a activist in Communist Party or something. I don't know. I was child. I remember that they knocked our door and said that can we hide his books in your place? And then my mom said, okay, bring the books here. And then they put it to fire the books because if they come to our house and they find that we have their books, and eventually they got him and they hung him anyway. Yeah.
How old was he?
At that time, 22, 23. Yeah. And yeah, I now I remember that from my aunt's husband's side, they were very activist, they in politics. Yeah, many of them they executed, yes.
So when you were in Israel and you're coming home as the situation was getting more tense, and now you've been watching the war is on 5 days now.
Uh-huh.
How has it been for you to see what is happening in Iran?
Ah, wow, it's very complex. It's my heart aches, between two loves. I'm involved with a love triangle. I love Canada too. Canada gave me lots of opportunity as I'm very, very proud Canadian and really appreciate the Canadians. But I see that two of my lovers, they're, I don't want to see two of them in this situation. It's a reality of my life every day. How can I put in the words?
Do you
I
support what
believe,
the
oh yeah,
United States, with
oh
Donald
yes, yeah,
Trump
yeah, I
and the
wanted to talk
Americans
at
and
it.
the
Yes,
Israelis?
I believe that Israel has the right to defend itself under the principle of self-defense when facing imminent threats. And we are 100% supporting US and Israel. And to me, it's overdue. They should do it long time ago. Long, long time ago. Because when we left Iran, personally, I never heard anything about Hamas, Hezbollah, nuclear, something. They didn't have this one at that time. So if they cut the head of the snake long before that, the world shouldn't see October 7th, shouldn't see this one.
They
And
wouldn't have seen. Yeah,
we
they
wouldn't
wouldn't
have
have.
seen this, yeah.
Yeah.
Uh, I support Israel not only as a Jew, but as an Iranian. I cannot go back to Iran. I cannot return to Iran under this regime. But something else that they brought Iranian people and Israeli people together. I see that many, many Iranians in their protest, they carry Israel flag. And thanks President Trump and the Bibi, and thanks them. And this is something that it was like a dream for me. But it's heart wrenching, I have the app that Homefront commands and takes. I see Iranian people suffering. The situation in Iran is very bad. The price is out of control. They don't have shelter to go and hide. They don't have nobody to listen to them. They kill them, easily. But from the other side, I see Israeli people. I see Israeli people that they suffer too. They went through October 7 and now again they have to celebrate Purim in bunkers. And it's the reality of my daily life. But I'm hopeful, I'm hopeful that what's happening in Iran, it's gonna be positive outcome. I pray for change and freedom, but I know that innocent people, they are suffering. A store running out of groceries in Iran. I heard that there is no baby formula. Family living in fear. It's painful reality. But sometimes change comes with an unbearable cost. Many Iranians reach to the point that they say that one night of fever, one night of death. It means that better a short, intense suffering now that ends quickly than prolonged agony. Overall, the emotion is very, very complex. I'll carry all types of emotions within me: love, fear, hope, pride, grief. Sometimes I feel overwhelmed.
I've heard a lot of people say, oh, the solution now is bring back the son of the Shah. Other people in the community say, no, that's not the solution. Where do you stand on this?
I'm not a political person, but many Iranians, they believe that continue this military action is necessary. And we are all scared that if they stop it in not reaching to the
Objective.
sorry, reaching to
Like
the
happened in January where they
yeah,
killed
objective,
30,000
yeah,
people. Yeah.
it's going nowhere, and repression will increase, and more people will suffer, and more people will be punished. I support whoever brings Iran back to dignity, a secular government that prioritizes its own people. People deserve to live in peace. Iran should live in peace with other nations and restore Iran's historic greatness. This is our wish.
The Canadian government has put sanctions on 500 IRGC members and entities over the past years.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of the politicians, including Pierre Poilievre and the RCMP, say that there's 700 IRGC members that have made it to Canada and are living in safety here. First of all, does that make sense to you?
Yes. I don't know them, but I heard. I heard from other people that they are very active. And many of them that when they closed the embassy, Iranian embassy in Ottawa, they said that it was like a hub for them. Many of them stayed in Canada.
Have your family or people you know been targeted?
No,
We
but
had a few shootings just this week in Toronto of a
yes,
gym. You heard about that?
Yeah, personally, no, nothing to people that I know, but I heard that, that the recent incident in Toronto, and also assassination of some people in Canada, and it's very, very sad to see it here.
What do you want Canada to do in this situation now? Is there any message you have for, the Prime Minister or Canadian politicians?
I don't want to see Canada like another European countries. I was in Paris and I was wearing my Magen David. The Jewish lady told me they might cut your head, hide it. I don't want to do that. I escaped from Iran to have this one. I don't want to again hide it. I came here to have a better life. I don't want to live in fear here. I came to Canada. I was thinking that this is a secular country, so Jewish, Muslims, atheists, Buddhists, everybody can live together, same together. I don't want to see it happens here. I really, really want to identify these people, and they kick them out of Canada. This the immigration system, When we came to Canada, it took almost 3 years to go through different levels, but now the door is open. Student visa, work permit visa, family visa, and all of them, they come here, nobody wants to leave. And who they are, many of them, they are good people or maybe righteous people, but who knows? It is job of the government to take care of our interests, Canadian interests. So I don't want to hide it, honestly.
And just for our listeners who don't have video, she's holding her, is it gold or silver Magen David
No, it's
on her
good.
neck that she wears, gold Magen David. When we started this conversation, you were talking about the smells and the food that you show Persian culture, Persian Jewish culture, maybe to your friends and
Uh-huh.
neighbors in Ottawa. Is there any dish that is helping you get through this time at the moment that you want to tell us?
Yes,
Your
yeah. There
comfort
is
dish.
a famous dish, Persian dish. Is called korma sabzi. It's mix of herbs, beans, lambs, because we love lambs. This dish is very special to me because the ingredients comes from the places that I love. One of the ingredients that dry lemon, they call it in Israel Persian lemons, and all the spices from Israel. The herbs comes frozen from Iran. I can bring it from Israel, but it's frozen. I buy it from Persian grocery. And the lamb and beans I buy here. And when I cook that one, I see that all my lovers they are at the table. Israel, Iran, and Canada. And it's very delicious. Everybody loves it. Everybody.
And that?
Very, very famous
All right.
recipe. Very famous. And I never seen a person that didn't like it.
You know, I've been watching the Netflix series Tehran, season 1, season 2, season 3. Maybe some of our listeners have seen it. And I'm seeing this while this war is going on. First of all, have you seen it at all, this Israeli TV series? No, it's
No,
about
but my husband is fan of it. I don't usually watch
okay. So
TV.
you don't
Yeah.
know if it's very realistic or not.
I don't think it's very realistic. Yeah, but it's a movie. Yeah.
Because it shows how the Mossad is in there with a lot of helpers that are
Yeah.
undermining the regime and double
Definitely
cross.
Mossad has a lots of help in Iran. There is no doubt about it. The way that they kill these mullahs, I'm so proud actually that it happens. Yeah. The
Okay,
day that
now
we heard that Khamenei is gone, me and my husband laughing, hugging each other, kissing. Yeah, it's the joy was overwhelmed.
you said you were hugging and kissing. Did you ever think in your lifetime that you would see the end of the Ayatollah and most of his
No,
official?
honestly, no. I was hoping for my children. I said that, yeah, maybe in my lifetime it doesn't happen, but I was hoping, like many other Iranians, that, oh, one day, now as a Jew person, I can take my children to show them, not as a political person or a symbol of something or something, just take them and show them from where the story of the children of Esther started. And before this attacking, I was thinking that it doesn't happen to my lifetime. But now I'm very hopeful. I'm very hopeful that one day I can take my children, and because I raise them, they have also Jerusalem and they have Persepolis in their heart too. They are intertwined. They are one entity. You cannot separate these two.
I'm sending you a hug through the
Thank you.
screen.
And I wrote just a little closing that I wish that it can express my feeling, you know?
Go for it.
I read from it. I carry Iran in my childhood, Israel in my motherhood, and the joy of loving both in my heart. Like Queen Esther, I live between Persia and my people, Jerusalem and Persepolis, loving both, fearing for both, praying for both. I do not stand between two countries. I stand between two loves, and both are my home. I love listening to Eyal Golan and Omar Adam while listening to Iranian music. We are not a contradiction. We are proudly Jewish and proudly Iranian. From Cyrus to Esther to centuries of coexistence, our histories are intertwined. I can love the Persian language and reject the regime. I can cherish my grandparents' Iran and advocate for human rights. Politics cannot erase 2,500 years of civilizations. And at the end, also, I wanted to thank, deeply grateful for first of all, for this interview, and also to the Jewish community in Ottawa who have supported me with dignity and warmth. And even different rabbis approached me and asked how I'm doing, and thanks for their kindness. And it means much more than they can imagine to me, to the rabbi.
If this podcast conversation touched you, please share it with others who might be as moved as I was doing this interview. You can also watch it on the CJN's YouTube channel. And that's what Jewish Canada sounded like for this episode of North Star, made possible thanks to the Ira Gluskin and Maxine Granovsky-Gluskin Charitable Foundation. North Star is produced by Zachary Judah Kaufman and Andrea Varsany. Michael Freeman is the executive producer. Alicia Richler is our editorial director, and the music is by Brett Higgins. Don't forget to leave a review on Apple Podcasts if you're on the Apple Podcasts app. Stay with the CJN.ca for more coverage of this developing story in the Middle East. And thanks for listening.